Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
All right, I'm back out here at Giga Texas. It is Friday the 27th of June. And what that means is that production is down today and it's going to be down all next week as there's a lot of production line changes, upgrades, maintenance, and maybe a little bit more going on as well. And that's kind of a great sign. So because of that, I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to see you next week, but we'll see how that goes. Now for today, I'm doing both Giga Texas and over at Austin doing the Robotaxi, giving a bunch of people different rides and helping Tesla get the data. And to do that, I've got a couple of people that are joining me and not only spending some time at Giga Texas, but also with the Robotaxi. So I'll introduce each of them here and we'll just talk a little about what they are expecting with that Robotaxi drive coming up. All right, I'm here with David. He's from Tesla Welt from Germany. And is this your first trip out here to see Giga Texas?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so what do you think about this? And we were talking about Giga Berlin. What are your thoughts about the differences?
Oh wow, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
I think it's bigger than Giga Berlin.
Okay.
And of course you have all the different parts of like the cathode plant. Yeah, a lot of different facilities that we don't have in Berlin. Mm-hmm. But who knows? I think we were going to have a lot of stuff in Berlin too.
Okay. Well, I think it's pretty neat just to have that connection between Giga Berlin, Giga Texas. As I was telling you, watching Tobias Lin and the Wolfpack brothers kind of inspired me to do Giga Texas. And it's just great to be able to have that international connection and between the two companies.
It was a little bit also a competition, right? When they were building it, like who's first, who gets up to production first and stuff.
I kind of picked up on that from what Tobias was saying, and I kind of accentuated it, and I came into this kind of a big competition of, well, we've got this, well, you got that, and who's going to build the car first, you know? But speaking of cars, you actually have had a chance to get a Robotaxi ride.
Yeah, several.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I got really lucky that I've been there for the right moment and had access to it via some great people. Shout out to Chris from Dirty Tesla, and John and so on. So yeah, it was a very smooth experience. I think it's amazing that after 10 years of waiting, Tesla finally pulled it off.
Right.
And you know, there's some criticism from people who say, especially in Germany, but it's still supervised. There's still a Tesla guy in the car. I don't think so, because the difference is that Tesla is taking the liability for the first time. So me as a customer, I can go to sleep, I can play a computer game. And so this is really the real Robotaxi for me, and it has been an awesome experience. Right,
and this is just the beginning and it's going to grow and get a lot better. And for the Germans, I just asked the Mercedes auto driving system, how fast can you drive on the Autobahn on that? 60 kilometers? 60. And how does that work on the Autobahn?
Oh, that's much more advanced than Tesla,
obviously.
Yeah,
so
obviously, it's much better.
So I'll just leave that there, is that my car drove me by itself from San Antonio to Giga Texas today at about 80 miles an hour, and in, what would that be in metric? About 170 kilometers an hour? I think it did pretty good by itself. So,
I'm sure, I had the same experience.
Yeah. So anyway, so thank you very much for coming out here, and I hope that you enjoyed your time flying the drone and seeing Giga Texas.
So cool.
And one day I got to get to Giga Berlin.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make that happen.
All right, cool.
See ya.
Okay, so this is Peter. You just came in from Switzerland, right?
That's right.
And you have been here before a couple of times, and we've got a chance to meet. And so you know Giga Texas really, really well. And so what's your impression coming back here after a little bit of time and seeing what's going on?
Well, it's improving, can say, yes. Getting bigger and more finished.
Yeah.
Looking forward to what's coming next.
Exactly, and it's an exciting time because we may be hearing about the new low-cost vehicle. We have the Robotaxi. Cybercab production is going to be beginning pretty soon, and of course a lot of the infrastructure with Cortex. But speaking of Robotaxi, you're out here to get a Robotaxi ride too.
I hope so, yes.
All right,
looking forward.
So we'll do a little bit more of that video later, but what is your thoughts about what to expect with the Robotaxi?
Well, I like to enjoy it. I like to try it.
Yeah?
I guess it's getting normal when you do a lot of taxi drives, but first it must be very special.
All right.
And
Well,
I'm a little bit jealous because we don't have this in Europe at all. Yeah.
well, hopefully someday, and I'm glad that you were able to come over here and you're going to get that experience. And for you, I think it's cool because you have come here a couple times and you've seen Giga Texas growing from nothing to now, and you're going to see one of the most incredibly important products and that service firsthand. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you more on the Robotaxi.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, I'm here with Nikolaus. He's my nephew, and this is a special day. First, you get a chance to see what Giga Texas looks like. It's been a little while since you were here, so what are your thoughts about the factory now?
Oh, it's just continuously growing and getting bigger and expanding, but it's not done yet.
No, it's not done, and they're still working on it. Every time they finish something, they rip it up and start again.
Exactly.
But you know, one of the cool things is, I think your first flight here, or your first time up here, you took a flight, you flew the drone, and you flew about ground level right through this area where there's a 4680.
Yeah.
So a lot of change, and I think that was back when dirt was sexy.
Yes, it was. Cyber dirt.
Cyber dirt, there you go. So another reason why you're here though is that we're going to get you a Robotaxi ride. So what are your thoughts about Robotaxi, and what are your expectations?
Well, I'm super excited. I'm humbled that I get to do this with you and everything. I've seen people online and on X and everything and sharing their views, but I'm really interested in seeing it in person. I have a Cybertruck myself with FSD, and I'm really curious to see how it looks and feels, and especially there not being a driver.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the little clip that Ellie in Space and I did yesterday, but Jesus takes the wheel. So you're going to let Jesus take the wheel?
Oh, heck yes.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, well, thanks for coming out, Nikolaus. I hope that you enjoy the time with the Robotaxi, and I'm glad you got a chance to see an update here at Giga Texas.
Thank you, Joe.
No
Thanks.
problem. So there you go, 3 people from 3 different countries out here to see Giga Texas and go get Robotaxi rides. It's just really a lot of excitement here about everything that's going on with Tesla, a lot of very positive things that are going on, and it's just amazing to see how far they've come since this factory was just dirt to where it is today and the products that they are fielding. So without further ado, let's get in the drone, fly around, and see what Giga Texas looks like today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, good morning from the west side of Giga Texas. Taking a look at the outbound lot and the end of line facility. I also see the semi truck here getting charged up. Of course, this is no production day, and it's the beginning of a production pause for the next week as they do line upgrades and other preparations with the production lines, and that's going to affect both the Cybertrucks and the Model Ys. Now here we see a lot of the vehicles that they've been producing over the last several days to prepare for that. And you can tell that the outbound lot is quite full. They even have overflow at the bottom of the screen here, and more on either side of the outbound lot coming into view. More transport trucks here in the middle, and one lining up over on the right hand side of the screen. Of course, they're getting ready to ship those off during the weekend, and also just take advantage of the fact that there is a production pause and be able to move everything out and clear out the lot. Here we see that work with the trenching and the manhole covers and concrete pipe segments. And I'll just continue to fly around here to show you all of the activity with the vehicles that is going on to prepare them for that shipping. We see on the bottom of the screen they're being lined up on the on this part, and they're moving over to this large grouping of vehicles. And I'll pull away so you can just get a sense of how many are here. And of course, we're right above the tents for the superchargers, where we see more activity underway to prepare all of these vehicles that have been manufactured over the last week for transportation. So let's fly around and take a look over at the west side. And once we look more of these vehicles here, we'll take a look at the materials that are being stored and if there are any significant changes specifically with the transformers. Now, one thing is clear here, directly ahead is the transformers have been moved away, but also we see trucks lined up and they are actively getting ready to move even more of them off site. Now you see the three trucks here, the forklift getting ready to move some of those transporters onto these trucks, and then on the left hand side we see even more getting ready to pick up all those transformers. So at the rate that they're going and the fact that there's production pause next week, we may be seeing them use this opportunity to move all of these transformers off site and do some other work with this material that we see in the middle of the screen as they do all those line upgrades and additional work on the inside of the factory. Now, I also noted directly ahead next to that large white kind of tent structure, many of the transformers that were over here have also been moved away. On my previous video, we saw them getting ready to move the transformers that are at the bottom center of the screen, and it looks like a lot of those have in fact left the site. We also have this group next to the white tent, some of which have been recently delivered. This is what the numbers and the types appear like here today. We also see more materials next to this smaller tent that have been delivered and be stockpiled here, many of them the blue and the white, but we also see more of those green wrapped items as well. Some of the fencing around this site is in place, as you can tell, and of course up by the top center we can see the downtown Austin where the Robotaxi fleet is live and that testing is going on. See that clearing that is kind of the middle left of the screen, and that work continues, plus the gray kind of spoils that came from the tunnels for the caissons. And of course here is a good look across the entire west support facility from the material staging on the left, the west warehouse on wheels, the end of line, the outbound lot, and of course the caisson construction that is going on here next to the highway. And instead of going over the highway, I'm going to kind of reposition the drone back to look at the work here at the caisson, and also try to fight through some of the banding because of the sun, and just show you the situation here with some more of those concrete pipe segments, the work down in the caisson, the spoils bin, and just the number of those concrete segments that remain. As I bring the drone down lower, just as a reminder, they're putting in this perimeter security fence. You can see the posts and the concrete holding up the posts along this side and next to the cyber tunnel. And this work is continuing all along this entire length that's going to separate the main highway with the outbound lot and the end of line. And as I mentioned on my previous video, I think it's definitely overdue that they have that, and security is something that is important, and I know that the security folks are pretty happy that that fence is coming in line. So let's cross over the highway and we'll resume on the other side. Here at the 4680 cell portion of the factory, we see these two large trucks that have been delivering some equipment. We maneuver the drone here, try to avoid some of that glare of the sun. And I'll zoom in so you can see what some of that equipment looks like, specifically here with this accordion truck moving that back, and it looks like this is a framed item, some white, some red, and this looks like it's most likely production equipment that is destined inside the 4680 cell portion of the factory. And with all of the other equipment that we saw on the west side that is destined for this area, looks like there is a lot of work preparing for additional production of those 4680s. Now, as I travel towards the south along the west side, Get a good sense here of this entrance. A lot of workers near that entranceway on the stairs, and some of the concrete planters with the trees in them. As we get closer to the platform here, we see that the crane's getting ready to lift some items up onto that platform. The safety observers are on the platform ready for the items to arrive. And of course, they've been using some of this crane to put solar panels on the roof over that section as well. As I continue to go to the south, I wanted to get a look at these doors where the exit point for the Model Ys are located. As mentioned, there is no production today, but we will see a white Model Y coming out as being driven by a Tesla employee. So that doesn't mean anything other than the fact that that is just being driven out of the factory. We do see the panels on the inside and some of the workers where they are doing some of those changes to the line and the exit point for the Model Ys, and these areas with that ramp and some of those receiving doors. While I'm here, also a nice view of the flags with it backlit by the rising sun, and the berm with the work that is underway to do the trenching, install those concrete pipe segments, the trench boxes, and more of the pipes that will hold some of that treated or recycled water, and also some of the kind of the wastewater that will go throughout this location. Here's a good look at some more of the excavation work with that yellow fence and the trench line and the trench boxes, and also just pretty much giving you an idea of just how much of that work along this berm is underway. Now, when all that's done, I expect to see a perimeter fence added here as well. Now, the glass company is preparing to replace that glass pane that you see in the left center of the screen with kind of that tarp coming down. I did notice a little bit after I shot these images that the crane was active. It had been extended, and we also saw more of the work to replace those glass panels in that section. Here's that kind of the driveway that goes underneath the main building, and it allows a connection from the east side to the west side for trucks that are bringing in materials to unload and continue to drive through. And also it provides that exit point in case the tunnel for the Cyber tunnel for the Cyber trucks is for some reason blocked. Here it looks like crews are busy assembling around where the I don't know, frames are located, and it looks like there's a small delivery on this flatbed truck as well. While I'm here, look through into that opening. You can tell that they still don't have the door, but it looks like there's a frame being put along that side of that opening, so maybe we'll see a door here very soon. So while I'm here, I will kind of try to shade the drone from the sun. We'll point back towards the west and just show what the work looks like with the trenching near the caisson here on this southwest side. And as I keep the drone low, it's a good opportunity to see the extent of the trenching along the berm all the way up past the flagpoles in the top center of the screen. Looks like there is more work to clean the windows here, and you can see the man lift, some of that white hose that is bringing up some of the water, and the work that is underway. And you can definitely tell with the reflection of the light that the windows are being cleaned, and it's looking quite nice. Now, on the right-hand side of the screen coming in, now in the middle, see that excavation work? We've seen that over this tunnel and also the tunnel coming up on the right of the screen. I've had some viewers suggest that maybe there's some subsidence around the tunnel and that needed to be repaired, and that perhaps is the reason why we see those repairs on either side of that tunnel and also near this corner. So that is possible, and we'll just see what they continue to do as they do that work around those exit tunnels. This is a close-in view, low end next to the cooling plant on the right, and that temporary platform with the openings here on this part of the building. And of course, we're still waiting for the time where the rest of the glass is installed here to seal off the building. As I bring the drone up to a higher altitude, it's pretty evident that all 6 of the fans are used in the cooling plant. Some people have said, well, it's maybe just because it's so hot out. At the time that I flew here, it was less than 80 degrees, so it wasn't super hot. And yet, even with the relatively cool day at the time of the drone, all 6 of the fans were being used. So perhaps that's indicating that they are doing a lot of work with the Cortex, doing training, and maybe it's using the data from the Robotaxis. It's hard to say for sure, but they are definitely using the capacity. We can tell with the fans. On the east side of the stamping machine section, this is what it looks like today. Some activity, some deliveries of materials and vehicles. Of course, the materials on the bottom of the screen, we've been watching those kind of grow over time. And while I was here, I noticed that there was some activity on the roof of the parking garage. I'll go ahead and zoom in here. We can see what is going on. I'm not sure exactly, but they are putting out cones. They have this Model Y in the middle. They have workers coming around the vehicle, and not sure again if maybe they're doing a photo shoot or what exactly, but this is clearly something that Tesla is doing with this particular blue Model Y. And as I pull away, we'll see a truck on the right, more workers coming up and over towards that vehicle. So definitely interesting to see that level of activity. Now, as I pan the drone over towards the north, we can see this material staging yard again with all the materials, the pipes, and some of those pipe segments that have been kind of fabricated further to the east in those workshops. Near the trailers and the trucks at the bottom of the screen, we see those portable generators that use solar panels, and that helps replace the diesel generators that they use for security monitors and also lighting. I wanted to kind of pan towards the large parking lot just to show how empty it is. And this is definitely an indication that production is stopped today. And as I mentioned, it will be allowing the lines to be taken down for that maintenance and upgrades and changes over the next week. As I continue to fly closer towards the area where we see the rack mounts and the castings, I'm going to zoom in and show you the work that's going on where this temporary platform is, and just inside as well. And it looks like that work is continuing to prepare that to allow more equipment to be moved into that part of the factory. I keep the zoom in and show you the baghouse filtration plant, kind of a fence around it now on the ground level, which is evident, and also the look into where the melt plant is located. Now, there were some details that I thought were interesting, so I'm going to reposition the drone to a lower altitude on the east side looking into that melt plant, and we will see some close-up views of what is going on. As I bring the drone over the rack mounts and the castings in the bottom of the screen, we can see more of the Cybercab front and some rear castings on the left, the amount of rack mounts and Model Y castings on the left and top, the recycled materials, some of those bales of aluminum that's used for melting in. The furnaces, we see a lot of those recycled wheels. And of course, look into this open section where they have the recycling aluminum furnaces at work. So pretty neat to be able to see all of that in pretty close detail. Now, there is a definite change coming on this north side by the paint shop. And that has to do with this painted body in white, or I guess it would just be a painted body now. I'll zoom in so you can tell what it looks like. It appears to be just a Model Y that has been painted, but for some reason it's been pulled outside, and this is its condition. I don't think it's really anything different, like maybe the low-cost model or anything. I think it's just a Model Y, but I thought I would point that out because that is the first time in a while that we have seen a painted body sitting on the outside. Of course, these are the paint stands for the bumpers and other parts for the Model Y. And we also see some additional rack mounts here on the ground that have been delivered, and some additional items on this flatbed trailer that are getting ready to be picked up by the crane and moved inside. So really close-in view of all of this activity here on the north end by the paint shop. Now, as I maneuver the drone further to the west, this is just a look at some of these unboxed containers, or the items have been moved out of those containers here at 4680, and some more of the work that is here. On the berm to the right, we can see where that trenching and some of that flexible conduit for the fiber optics has been placed in to the ground. And as I maneuver the drone here, look at this berm. We've seen some of the additional landscaping being done here. There's a fence that's being put in, and that looks like it's going to be more of that security fence around the berm. As we come over to the north side, I did notice these trucks that were loaded up with the Model Ys, and I think a couple of them might have some Cybertrucks, but ultimately, as I maneuver the drone around, this gives you an idea of the trucking as they get ready to maneuver and take all of these vehicles from that outbound lot up to the Hutto and Taylor railhead for shipping around the country. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude. We'll fly over the power lines. We'll take a look at the work that's being done at the expansion of the electrical switchyard. And the crews continue to prepare the ground here for that expansion in the area directly ahead of us. You can see some of that earthwork underway. About where that depression is and those rocks, which is riprap, you can see another section looks like it's being prepared for construction, and I don't know what that's going to be, but it is an extensive amount of land that has been graded. As we continue to fly along this section, we can tell that the underground vault is making a lot of progress in the center of the screen. Of course, there's more materials that are stockpiled here nearby with some rebar for that work for the walls that they are fashioning. And of course, looks like they have some of that plastic on the recently poured ground slab, and that helps with the curing process and tries to make sure it doesn't get overheated and cured too quickly with the heat of the summer. And of course, they are preparing for the forms around where the rebar is for the walls, and then that will eventually be poured with concrete. Again, this is going to be very similar to the existing underground vault that runs the width of the original south end of the electrical switchyard, and on top of portions of that are these three control trailers. And we also see that one of the manhole accesses is open. Some of the workers are down into that vault, which is throughout this entire area where the gravel is. And I'll keep the zoom in as I pull away, but that gives us an idea of what that new vault is going to look like. Here on the north end of the new Megapack site, this is what that looks like. And they've been doing the final cable installation. And the perimeter fence is now completed. All the lighting is completed. And the next big thing that I think we'll be able to see that is noticeable is the arrival of gravel to cover that ground. It looks like there are some more deliveries here at the bottom of the screen. Not sure exactly what those are, but it is interesting to see that coming up. And of course, looking at that parking lot, there's not a lot of activity today. And the trailers in the upper right are the new trailers that will replace the ones here in the middle of the screen. And work continues to disassemble all the operations here and transfer it to those new trailers. At the Cortex 2, we see a lot of work here on the external walls. Of course, as I zoom in, see that warehouse, the temporary warehouse on the bottom left. Here's the work that is going on with the wall panels, the seam sealers, which is kind of that green material. The gray is that textured material that is the final surface. And on the left, we can see that it has been stained white. And once complete, this entire building will have white walls that will resemble what we see at the main factory. And as I pan along and keep the zoom in, you can get a good sense of the amount of walls that have already been added. And that will continue along this side. And it looks like there are a few access points, possibly for receiving doors, or maybe they're leaving the openings with the perimeter grade beam and those large sections without the wall so that they can bring in the earthwork and other excavating equipment to finish up doing the trench work on the ground and then eventually put the ground slab in. So I'll bring the drone up slightly, kind of pan along this north side so you can get a good sense of how the structure on this side appears. And of course on the east side we can see the wall installation is proceeding to the north from the south. They have a large sections with the steel studs installed, and of course more of the openings that are going to be the permanent doorways and receiving doors. As we continue to fly to the south, we'll approach up to this corner and get a good look at how this is appearing with the blue panels being installed on top of the studs, and of course near this corner where we already see some of that gray textured material being applied on the left, that green kind of seam sealer material being applied over the blue panels. So let me pull away and give you an overall shot here of how Cortex 2 looks today. And we'll continue to look at more of the facilities with the die shop directly ahead, and of course the battery cathode plant on the right. And one final area that I would like to show you in the video today before we conclude for the weekend is that there is work with preparation for crash testing within the crash test facility. This appears to be a Model Y undergoing some sort of testing. I'll zoom in so you get a good view of what that looks like. Apparently the bumper, or at least part of the front bumper, is missing in this particular situation. And this is what it looks like. On the left-hand side of the screen is that crash wall that has been moved away for what they are doing with that test vehicle. But anyway, it's pretty cool to see that they are continuing to do that work with the crash testing, more of the vehicles along the fence line on the left, and more work here on the north next to the cell test lab, specifically with all of the steel corrugated pipe and connecting items that are stored on the material staging yard next to that cell test lab, which is that small metal structure on the bottom left. So that'll bring us to an end for the video here today. Great opportunity to see two people from Europe, and of course my nephew out at the site, and all the excitement with Robotaxi that is going on at Austin nearby. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.